Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Dynamics 365 Tech Talk. Today's topic is evolving regression testing from RSAT to NextGen testing. My name is Alejandra Cabrales, and I will be your moderator today. We are broadcasting this session through Microsoft Teams Town Hall. This session is being recorded on behalf of the Microsoft Corporation. When you join this event, your name and email address may be viewable by other session participants in the attendee list. By joining, you're agreeing to this experience. If you have questions for presenters or need support, please use the Q&A panel located on the right side of your screen. Our presenters will be responding to your questions throughout the session and in a live segment at the end of the presentation. Thank you for your patience during these announcements. Presenting for us today, we have Swami Narayana, Kenny Salen, Alexandra Koptil, Joshua Bell, and Prinkle Bay. Swami, over to you to get us started.
Thank you, Alexandra. Hello, everyone. Happy to see so many of you here. It's an interesting topic and an important topic, as most of you have joined here. And regression testing in the new world of cloud is very important for all of us. As we talk about this in the Success by Design, it's important for us to plan, execute, and run with regression testing in an automated fashion rather than depend on the manual testing. The fact that you are doing it and you have joined this makes it special. So thank you for your following to the best practices in this regard. When we launched the RSAT as part of the one version migration, as part of our cloud journey, the goal was to provide a solution so that it's low cost. That's something that works well with finance and operations. The customers can use it, make sure that they have the automated testing. I think as we have evolved over a period of time, there are lots of gaps as you think about from an enterprise solution architecture. And there are also, things when you look at the commercial product, the capabilities the commercial product provides are much more richer than what RSAT can do. So what we have done in the last few years is look at other commercial available products such as Leapwork as well as Executive Automat to say what other product can be a candidate for us to consider and recommend as an option for customers to consider. We like Leapwork for many reasons. One, it's a product agnostic. That means you can cover all of the test cases that is part of your entire solution. Two, it's a low-code, no-code platform that's very much in line with how we think about product development in the future. The more interesting thing for us, the reason we kind of thought we should bring this discussion to all of you, if you are looking for the next evolution of the regression testing, this is a good topic. The main reason is Leapwork as a partner have taken our feedback and have created tooling to be able to enable migrate the test cases that you have with RSAT into their platform. So to share more details and how it has been done, and also some internal case studies, how we have helped our customers to transition. Here, we have organized this Tech Talk to share more details. I'm going to invite Kenny Salen to come and share more of our philosophy. Then we have Leapwork team to share. Then we have Prinkle from our Azure team to share more of their experience in transitioning to Leapwork. Over to you, Kenny.
Thank you, Swami, for that introduction. Let's just move on to kind of what evolving regression testing would look like. And to start off, I'll spend some time just talking about what capabilities we are expecting to see in the testing automation toolset in today's world and landscape. And then right on, I'll pass it on to Alexandra from the Leapwork team to kind of address how Leapwork is addressing some of these capabilities and needs that we see in the field, right? So just to start off, as Swami also mentioned in the introduction, we need tooling to be platform agnostic, right? In today's landscape, most of our customers don't just come with one of the apps in the Dynamics platform, and their solution is entailing more than one product, actually. So the testing solution needs to be able to handle all these different applications and not stay within the boundaries of one. Low-code, no-code test design, of course, we need to enable business users and analysts to kind of define test cases without needing like a rocket science degrees to do this, right? And requiring deep technical skills to be able to record these tests. It should be allowing the users to like fluently record things and go from there. One additional topic we often see is AI-assisted test maintenance. Today, we see there's a lot of work going into kind of correcting things in test scripts or whenever changes happen in the UI. So having a way to ensure that you can quickly turn around and correct these test cases is definitely something worth investing in. Then other topic here would be definitely be seamless testing across cloud, on-prem, and hybrid setups. As I mentioned in the first bullet point, we have multiple applications in the architectures of customers in whatever they need to provide a solution for their business. So we definitely need to support all these cross-environment compatibilities also and make sure we can integrate into solutions that provide like CI/CD pipelines, and so being able to integrate with the ALM story. Next would be data management, right? If you do regression testing, it is so important that you do the testing on actual realistic data and not just a test data set. So having some kind of built-in tools to enable data provisioning or to make sure that when you set up your test cases, you can get the right data in that environment is also crucial to having reliable and consistent testing here, right? And then the obvious one would also be that any native integration that can be done with Power Platform, Azure DevOps, Dataverse APIs, and basically the whole Microsoft ecosystem. Any solution that provides capabilities in this area has a plus also, right? So with that, these are capabilities we see that are needed in terms of testing automation. Allow me to pass this on to Alexandra to discuss a bit how Leapwork addresses those needs.
Thank you so much, Kenny. So here's how we see the problem, and this is what we mean when Kenny mentioned platform agnostic automation. Organizations today, they want quality across critical business processes, and they have to function. And quality means the full connected experience works as it's intended to, going from application to application seamlessly. You've got Copilot, you've got F&O, you might have other technology stacks integrated to your Microsoft ecosystem. And that serves the entire customer journey. This is just an example that we have here on the slide. But quality is constantly under threat because customer journeys involve complex interconnected applications where changes happen all the time and various app errors, big or small, are missed. So Kenny, if you want to go to the next slide, meaning a change in one application, in this example in F&O, can have a huge impact, causing others to also be affected. And what that actually means is that your business can temporarily be out of business, or your end users are unable to use the service. And unfortunately, organizations almost never understand the connection between the changes they make and the impact these changes have on customer experience and business performance, pretty much until it's too late. So if we move on to the next slide, the reason why this happens is that most businesses have outdated and siloed approaches to testing. So each solution has either a point solution that is being used with automation, or there's still some manual testing that is being done. And these disconnected tools and teams result in an intelligence gap. So what typically happens is defects are leaking into production. It's harder to find and fix those errors because of the complexity of that environment. Maintenance becomes then a huge burden and more difficult. And as a result, testing intervals are longer, releases are slower, and ultimately does not give you the ability to innovate as fast as you would like to. And the lack of strategic and a comprehensive approach to testing is resource intensive, and teams are unable to keep up with those testing requirements. And if you go to the next slide, Kenny, software vendors now are introducing more frequent updates, enforcing updates, and giving their customers the latest and greatest, innovative features, like Microsoft is with one version. And not only does this apply pressure on testing the individual application more often, but when you have these interconnected systems, what that actually means is that the problem and complexity scales exponentially. So you've got multiple concurrent testing cycles across the tech stack where they are interdependent, meaning thousands of test cases across user journeys. And of course, the result has major negative impacts on the business. And it could mean a couple of things. If you switch to the next slide, Kenny. Things like poor practices, right, in regression testing and delaying those cycles, which delays innovation and it delays the ability to adopt new features because of the time that's wasted on scripting redundancy, different approaches to testing. They cause defects to leak into production, causing those failed transactions. And these failed transactions cause a poor customer experience. Ultimately, either your end customers or internal employees that are using these technologies. And testing teams are spinning their wheels without best practices. So this is where Leapwork comes in. We've solved that regression testing issue that we just spoke about, and we created a visual approach to automation that anyone can understand. It is 100% no code, and we offer an end-to-end testing solution so that you can move past those siloed testing approaches and hidden gaps to advance the best testing practices across any application, including applications like AI apps and Microsoft Copilot or different platforms such as web, mobile, or desktop as well. We have powerful regression testing capabilities, which we'll show you today. And we're partnered with Microsoft, really enabling testing across Microsoft applications and environments. So with that said, let me show you how we make regression testing faster with less effort. So if you go to the next slide, Kenny, each process within F&O has a series of tests that correlate to that process. And within that process, there are reusable components that can be used for other related processes. With Leapwork, we have this modular approach to building automation because we understand that testing is repetitive. So here's an example. You're logging in, you're adding an item, you're transferring inventory, and inventory counting, and then finally verifying that inventory. With Leapwork, teams can share flows and subflows with one another, eliminating the hassle of rewriting those redundant scripts. And as you can see, you can reuse those subflows across different processes. So you'll see them being duplicated there across the board. Not only that, but if you think of those complex multi-site, multi-country rollout implementations where you need repeatability across all of those. So for example, some sites or some countries have custom configurations that's site or country specific. You'll have a library that can be customized per site, per country rollout. No need to recreate those test cases for each one of those rollouts. Leapwork helps you create the most efficient and effective tests and keep them in an automated regression suite that you can reuse. Better yet, what happens if something changes in your application, either by a change process or Microsoft introducing a change during the updates or even an icon change? In RSAT, at times you'd have to go in, change the locator path or the X path for that particular element. And a lot of the time you'd have to go in and re-record a lot of those test cases. When these updates take place and tests need to change to match the application, in this example, inventory counting, which is highlighted there in green, Leapwork is self-healing automatically and dynamically. You make the change to the subflow containing that logic just one time,
and it gets deployed across every single test case that is using inventory counting in this case. And teams can save hundreds of wasteful hours reusing these flows that are updated in an instant. So now moving on to a great question that is often asked, and Swami made reference to this at the beginning as part of success by design, but a great question is, when should you start thinking about automation? And the recommendation is as early as possible. So for example, if you're listening to this and you're in an implementation stage, definitely in the plan and analysis phase, and start to think about critical processes and making sure that those tests are reliable going forward. Functionality typically is built during sprints for a customer journey. You can break that customer journey into multiple sprints depending on the length of those sprints. So building automation as you're implementing those becomes key. And here's why. Because the benefit of doing this during implementation is that you're removing the SIT phase, which sometimes takes weeks to months. And if a bug is found, then another testing cycle is required, delaying timelines of projects. So what you're also able to do is reduce that UAT testing duration. And lastly, you'll have a fully built automated regression suite when going live, assisting you with those upgrade cycles that we spoke about. So in summary, and we'll get to the capabilities in just a second. If you want to go to the next slide, Kenny. In summary, moving to next-gen automation with Leapwork helps you assure quality across those end-to-end business processes that are critical, allowing you to deliver innovation faster and adopt cool new technology like AI, Copilot, and reduce that technical debt while you're doing so. Achieve 100% test coverage and save thousands of hours in the process as well. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to walk you through a couple of capabilities that Leapwork offers that aligns directly with Microsoft, the Microsoft ecosystem. And the first one that I'd like to show you is I want to walk you through a demo of Leapwork Fusion, which is our new recorder for finance and operations. And I'd like to show you just a quick demo of it in action. And this makes creating a test case an absolute breeze, and you'll see exactly why. So Kenny, if you want to go to the next slide, and you can go ahead and click on play there. So before we get started, I'm just going to show you what we're going to automate. So we're going to edit a contact, which contains a multitude of different field types, all the way from text entries to buttons to toggles, drop downs. Think of the most complex actions that you can take. And you'll see the Fusion recorder there on the right hand side. This is new, and it allows you to see exactly all of the actions that you're taking as you're recording the test case. So if you click on start and I start executing any sort of action on that application, Leapwork will record it as a step on the right-hand side and also record all of the data that I'm entering in or the item that I'm selecting from a drop-down, from a multi-drop-down, and it'll also reflect that list in the Fusion recorder on the right-hand side. Here you'll see a multi-selection drop-down, so you can make multiple selections. Leapwork will record that on the right-hand side as well. And I believe that, yes, perfect, it's playing again. And it's reflected on the right-hand side of the screen there. So you can easily make changes to your test as you're building the test, which makes, as I mentioned, creating a test an absolute breeze. So if we add in a couple more details, data, and then we'll scroll down to some miscellaneous details as well and toggle 2 of those buttons, you'll be able to see that full flow. And last but not least, we're going to just delete a step there. And we're going to quickly get the application back into its initial stage. And we're able to run that test case right from that Fusion recorder. And you'll see this happening live in front of you. Now, of course, we were able to execute it successfully. So it turned screen and it executed in 3.6 seconds. So it's extremely efficient, executes those test cases really, really quickly. If I want to make any changes to that, and I want to see if an error pops up, so I'm going to change one of those values that FNO is not expecting to get, and automatically I can see an error message on the right-hand side, troubleshoot as I go, and of course, last but not least, run it again, and you'll be able to see that automatically run green, so it's passed. And once you save this, it'll show up in the Leapwork Studio as that visual representation of the flow that we've seen earlier. So you can start to build off of this, you can start to build your end-to-end tests, and you can grow cross-application in the same test case, which is awesome. So that gave you a quick introduction into the Fusion Recorder that we've released. And next, I just want to walk through how we fit into the DevOps ecosystem seamlessly with a couple of different integration points. So Kenny, if you want to move to the next slide there. Perfect. So there's a couple of integration points that we offer with the integration, allowing you to use Leapwork as part of the already existing framework that you already have set up within Azure DevOps. So you have the ability of creating test cases in Azure DevOps, setting their status to planned, and importing those test cases to Leapwork with a single click. So you'll keep the same structure, you'll keep the same naming convention, and then you can create the automation for that test case in Leapwork. Within Azure DevOps, you can also add test cases to test plans and import those test plans in Leapwork as run lists. Run lists in Leapwork allow you to run two different ways. The first way is you can schedule it. You can give it a date and you can give it a time. Or secondly, once your code moves from dev into the test environment, Leapwork can automatically trigger that test plan from the DevOps pipeline, and the status will get updated in Azure DevOps within seconds. So you'll see a breakdown of past tests, failed tests, and an automated creation of work items based on those failed tests, along with the log file, along with the video evidence of that failed test. And last but not least, you're able to see dashboards in both Leapwork and ADO, giving you a full view on quality. So it gives you an idea of how we fit really, really closely with Azure DevOps. Now, the next capability I'd like to showcase is our powerful RSAT migration tool that was referenced at the beginning of the call. And it will allow you to use the already made investment into RSAT to scale those tests to complex data-driven tests faster with AI capability. It will allow you to deliver quality end-to-end testing, which goes outside of FNO across critical business processes. And it will allow you to test more with less effort using Leapwork. So in the demo, what I'm going to cover is we're going to have a set of RSAT test cases already saved, right? And I'm going to walk you through how the migration tool takes those tests that were created in RSAT, migrates them to Leapwork, and we're going to run one as we've migrated it so that you can see Leapwork in action. So if we move to the next slide, Kenny, and you can go ahead and play the video. Perfect. So here you'll see the Leapwork Studio. It is fully blank. I don't have any RSAT migrated tests, but you'll see the command line popping up. And I'm just posting in a command that connects to my Leapwork controller. There's a path to those saved RSAT test cases, and you'll notice that executable file running and those tests importing into Leapwork very, very quickly. You'll see a folder with my order to cash test cases. You'll see product information management test cases. And then finally, we're going to go into our procure to pay and create a new vendor. For every single test step in an RSAT test case, Leapwork has now created a building block, and I can quickly run that flow immediately to see it working. So it's going to just open up a vendor, make some changes to it, and then create a brand new vendor. And it's taken the data that I had in the RSAT test case into Leapwork, and it's going to use that data to run. So you'll see it quickly entering in that data. And again, it's executing really, really efficiently. And once that's done, we can see the flow is passed. So we're able to get to the end. And the great thing about Leapwork is that it creates a video capture of that entire test running. So it actually builds a timeline of that test. So you can imagine, when we're talking about those complex end-to-end processes, and if something goes wrong, all I need to do, Leapwork will give me a descriptive log message about why that failure took place. I can click on that log message, just like I've done there. It will take me to the frame in the video of where that step was executing, so I can actually see what's happening on the application side. And last but not least, it will also pinpoint the building block that is causing that issue, drastically reducing the mean time to resolution for issues. And of course, we can spend time doing some of the other tasks. So that was the RSAT migration tool in action. And I've just got one more thing to show you. And this is really how can we help you deliver value from day one? And we've actually built a D365 F&O pre-built package. So if you want to go to the next slide there, we've built a D365 pre-built package of flows, and the value of this for you is that you can customize those pre-built flows from day one. So these are based on standard processes as defined by Microsoft, but you can customize it to fit the exact setup of your application. There's a drastic reduction in build time of new flows thanks to the modular and the reusable aspect of Leapwork. And it's built using best practices of testing, the framework, the structure, the flexibility and automation. And of course, that reusability is taken care of to account for system changes at a later stage. So what you need to focus on is automating testing of core functionality first, which we've got. And of course, last but not least, you can have reporting and dashboards ready really, really quickly. So which processes does the framework support? As I assume a lot of those questions will be coming through. And we've got over 20 subflows and over 80 functional tests that span across 9 different business areas. Microsoft is working with Leapwork to align our pre-built flows to the business process catalog, which Rachel Profit from Microsoft is heading up, giving you a great start on your automation journey and delivering value from day one. So this brings me to the end of the presentation on Leapwork. But if you are interested in learning more, Kenny, if you want to go to the next slide there. If you're interested in learning more about Leapwork, these are all of our partners and your partners that work with RSAT and Leapwork and can help you get started on your journey with Leapwork. Thank you so much for your time. It's really simple to get started today. You can scan the QR code or click the link in the chat box. To schedule a discovery session, we'd love to have a chat. And we're addressing modern business problems today. And I'll summarize quickly what we learned today, but really we discussed the challenges in regression testing and the impact of poor regression can have on the business. We've shown you how Leapwork helps teams advance best practices in regression testing with reusability and capabilities specifically designed for success with Microsoft applications. These combine to help you accelerate those release cycles, ensure continuity across your mission-critical business processes, deliver amazing customer experience at scale, and with Leapwork, teams can move faster and more efficiently than ever. So now I'm thrilled to pass it over to Itineris, and we're going to hear from 2 customers today. But it's one of our customers who will go first, who will tell you more about their experience with Leapwork so that you can see it in some real life examples. But thank you so much for listening and for the time.
Thank you, Alexandra. Good morning, afternoon, everyone. I'm Joshua. I'm leading the Center of Excellence at Itineris. And in the next slides, I will talk you through our journey that we had over the past years to evolve regression testing, and especially embracing Leapwork in the past year that we had. As Itineris, we make our own solution called UMax, which is really focused on utility customers in Europe and North America. Originally mainly focused on finance operation, but over the past years, we also added the CRM apps, Power apps, Power Pages, and also web applications. So our automation challenge only increased over the past years. Next slide, please. Before I go into our journey, I want to share first a bit more insights about what we are trying to achieve with automation of tests. Of course, it has to be repeatable and very consistent. Also testing continuously. We have more and more fast releases coming from Microsoft with the PQUs. We have our R&D teams introducing new ISV code to our customers. And we basically want to test as soon as possible to reduce the impact of cost and time in fixing the issues that we see. And in the end, we want to really evolve actually to a 24/7 testing effort by running automation around the clock. Next slide, please. We started automation journey already 7 years ago when we moved from Axapta to D365 in the cloud. And as we were mainly focused on F&O, we started with SysTest. We used also ATL. We used Perf SDK, so mostly coding solution to automation, because we had a good core team supporting us there and automating tests. I think today we are still running about 2,000 automated test scenarios using still SysTest and an ATL. But we also looked at RSAT mainly when we were onboarding in the release preview program a couple of years ago. But that for us had too many limitations, let's say, to fully embrace it. Also a bit of slow in runtime and also with a relatively high maintenance cost, while the coding approaches were for us at that point in time the better solution. I think in 2022, we started reconsidering our approach, mainly because we saw limitations of only running SysTest ATL on tier 1 environments, while tier 2 changed, let's say, the topology, and they were quite different than the tier 1 environments. Plus also by introducing our own web applications and also using CRM apps, we couldn't only rely on those solutions anymore. Then for a brief time, we looked at Playwright and used that. To a certain extent, that was satisfying our needs, but we never managed to really scale it because we needed developers to use Playwright. And we always had troubles, let's say, having enough people, let's say, to help us, support us there. And that made us eventually reconsider again. And at that point, also Leapwork reached out to us to see if there were any opportunities to partner up. And we did good initial research. Maybe go to the next slide, Kenny, if you want. Did a pretty extensive evaluation of Leapwork before we decided, because we really didn't want to lose any of the capabilities that we had with Playwright or other solutions like Selenium. So we really want to have ease of use of maintenance. It had to work across technology. We had to be able to data-driven testing. It had to be reusable and portable, and so on and so on. But in the end, we could tick off all of those boxes during our proof of value with the Leapwork team. And a big additional benefit that we had with Leapwork was that we didn't have to rely only on technical profiles to automate tests, but we could really bring it to the wider, let's say, teams and the multifunctional teams we had, letting, let's say, functional analysts, testers, contribute in automating our test scenarios. Next slide, please. There are two success factors I really want to highlight in these slides. One's about team structure. We really invested in the early stages to form a COE core team. We get them to a certification level. They are partially technical. One of them is really a developer who used to work on our automation in code. The other one is more, let's say, really functional profile with enough technical feeling. And they really focused on having the right guidelines, best practices. They really focused on having the right subflows. They also really thought about the ALM process we want to apply to make sure we can reuse the subflows and the flows as much as possible across releases, across customers to take the most of it. And then we work with decentralized automation teams who are actually mainly functional profiles, who know the business, who know our product, who know our customers, to actually automate the scenarios. Next slide, please. And then again, as also Alexandra mentioned, I think subflows are really crucial, I think, to the success of a platform like Leapwork. It will really accelerate your speed automating new scenarios, but it will definitely also reduce your maintenance cost maintaining your existing scenarios. If something changes, it's really easy to identify the impacted subflow, fix that. It will be instantly fixed, let's say, in all the scenarios using that subflow. That's also, I think, a big differentiator with RSAT. That could be, let's say, very painful on a maintenance level if you had changes impacting multiple tests that you had running. Next slide, please. So I think our mission is very clear. We're going to definitely continue on this path. We really want to, let's say, leverage Leapwork as a platform even more. I think the releases we've seen coming in with the AI-powered recording and so on is really promising. So we basically are combining the power of the platform combined with our deep domain expertise we have. So we did add additional subflows next to the ones that Leapwork is offering as part of the platform. We also invested in more UMAX-specific subflows, and it's really helping us, say, to bring things faster to release and be continuously testing, let's say, the PQs and the changes we are making to our software. I think this was the last slide, so I can give the word to the next presenter.
Thanks, Joshua. Bring to the side. I'm part of internal Microsoft team, where we have implemented Dynamics 365 for the circular centers, and it's a custom module. So basically, the question that we would run into all the time. Can you go to the next slide? Yeah, thank you. So basically, the question that we would run into all the time is, with the recent one version updates, the platform updates keep coming in almost every month. So we wanted to make sure that the modules that we have built in don't run into regression tests. And that's where, we had around 200 plus test cases. And, we used to use RSAT too and have a dedicated team. This required us a lot of manual test execution steps as well, because we were not just limited to the D365 finance and operations. We were also using Power Platform, and we also had Warehouse Mobile app. So, in all, if you would execute all these test cases, it would take us a manual effort about 2 weeks to execute, which basically reduced our turnaround time for deploying these platform updates to production. So, what we did, basically, when we onboarded to Leapwork, we saw a significant decrease in the timelines. If you want to move to the next slide, thanks. So, significant decrease in the timeline from about 2 weeks to about 7 to 8 hours, just for the regression testing for all of these test cases. So, and the main important part is authoring of these test cases, was pretty simple and straightforward. Right. It gave us complete coverage for including Power Apps, including the Power Pages, as well as the Warehousing Mobile app, and in all reduced our cycle time to the production. So, and now we're basically building on to integrate this tool with our CI/CD pipelines. So, yeah, I think I'll open it up for Q&A. Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot of question posted. And maybe Alexandra, you have seen any question that is, there are more very common questions or repeated. Do you have any that you want to highlight?
Sure. So myself and the team are going through them as we speak and responding to some, but I'll call some out. We had one, how do you change the variables to input in the field? So when you saw the recorder, you can change them in the recorder on the right-hand side, or when you save the flow, you can change them in Leapwork. You can also scale your test cases to add in your test data from spreadsheet, databases, or even generate your test data on the fly using our AI capability as well. So you've got multiple different options. There is a couple of questions. Yes, can the Microsoft F&O recordings be imported in the Leapwork tool? Yes, absolutely. There were a couple of questions around, does Leapwork support CE, Power Apps? Yes, Leapwork is technology agnostic. It supports everything within the Microsoft ecosystem and beyond that as well. So even if you have custom Power Apps, Power Pages, custom applications, legacy applications, so for organizations that still use mainframe as an example, or terminals, all of those are supported by Leapwork. One that I'd like to call out as well for any sort of retail customers, commerce, POS is fully supported as well. So you can easily build those end-to-end test cases across different technologies as well. How does Leapwork help in testing the output of text coming out of AI tools? So we have AI capability in the tool, which allows you to, for example, let's take Copilot as an example. You have the ability of testing Copilot responses. You have the ability of generating test data with AI as well, validating it, transforming the data that comes out to grab values. So if you have large bodies of data that you need values from, you have the ability of using Leapwork to test those as well. Can we move RSAT test cases to Leapwork? Yes. And there was questions around, does it support Salesforce, Zora? Yes, absolutely. Is the process, the D365 pre-built flows aligned with the business process catalog? So we're currently working with Microsoft on aligning that, and Rachel Profit's team specifically as well. So there's a bunch of questions coming in. Hopefully we can get through them all.
Alexandra,
So
there's maybe one that I need to help you on kind of getting addressed there. There's one question which states, I missed the opening comments by the Microsoft team. So is Microsoft moving away from the RSAT product, which is a question we did indeed expect. You're definitely welcome. We will publish this on YouTube, and you'll get afterwards also the slides will be made available on our community page. So definitely welcome to revisit the opening remarks that Swami was doing. Definitely useful to see, because it's part of the answer will be in there. What we see today is that RSAT has kind of been created back then with a certain scope in mind and has certain capabilities, right? So what we do see is that RSAT is not able to cover all of the requirements we have from a testing solution today, right? So multi-product, etc., right? So this is why we are looking at, and we mentioned also in the beginning that there are tools out there who can provide better solutions than RSAT is able to. So that's one thing. Then addressing the specific question, like, are we moving away from it? Are we ditching it? No. RSAT is there today, will be there tomorrow. The only thing I can say is that we consider it as feature complete. We will not make like any big changes to RSAT to make it compete with some of the solutions that are out there, right? That's not going to happen. But RSAT is there today, will stay there, and is supported. Yeah. Back to you, Alexandra.
Great. Thank you so much for addressing that. So I see a couple more questions come in. So instead of responding to them via text, I'll just take them. So is the Leapwork certification required for user testing? It's not required. We do offer training, and our partners, we threw up a slide there with the partners that we work with. They are certified on implementing Leapwork for your solutions, but we do have the ability to give you certifications as well. We've got a whole certification program as well. Can Leapwork, we've got, yes, is Leapwork capable of executing multiple times within a single run for tasks like creating orders repeatedly in D365? Yes, absolutely. So what you've seen as part of the demo is just creating one test case with one set of test data. When you save that test case and go back into Leapwork, you have the ability of changing that flow, and you can introduce test data with a couple of different options. So you can have that test data for creating those orders in a spreadsheet. Each column would be for each field that you want to enter in. You have the ability of connecting to a database via an ODBC connection and grabbing your test data from there. You also have the ability to call an API, use that data, but also you can generate data, test data on the fly using our AI capability as well. Okay, I'm just going through. Is Leapwork responsible for maintaining the test cases, or is it on the client? So it would be either on the client or the partner that's managing that for you. So as we've gone through, and Itineris did a great job as well at talking about that sort of Lego example, you have that modular approach. So maintaining those test cases becomes a lot more efficient because you change something one time and it gets deployed across the board. So even if you have applications that change frequently, or you have frequent release cycles internally, making those changes is easy. You make it once, gets deployed across the board.
Yeah, Alexandra, I think that's a good call out. I think most of our attendees probably noticed Itineris is a big ISV that covers both F&O and CE. Their adoption of Leapwork is a great example of how the value can be achieved. I forgot to mention Joshua in my initial remark, but I want to call them out for their partnership with us.
Awesome. Thank you, Swami. One other question here: if you are utilizing 80% of the of D365 system and expecting half the test cases be built from scratch, how many hours can a company expect to create those test cases? Well, how long is a piece of string really is the answer, and it is custom based on your requirements. But if you are using RSAT, you've got a start that you can use as a foundation and build off of that. If you don't, we do have those pre-built test cases, which give you significant coverage in the beginning phases, getting you to value. And of course, you build off of those based on your customizations and requirements for your applications. So happy to have a conversation. So if you can see the link, I'll post it in there and publish your question. If you're interested, happy to have a conversation around that as well. Just having an issue here with the Q&A box not loading up for me, so give me just a second. I think there are a bunch of questions still coming in. Great question here. So does Leapwork support performance testing? Are you able to use virtual users to simulate multiple users within the system? What I will say, it is coming. So that is coming with Leapwork. So you'll be able to do that very soon. Does Leapwork connect desktop automation with web? Yes. So any Leap workflow you can create across different technologies. So one test case does not mean just F&O or just desktop. You can have as many technologies within that test case as you wish. So yes, it absolutely does. Certification and training question. So yes, we do offer training. Our partners also offer training and implementation services to help you get started right away. We had a slide there with our partners. So yes, certification, you can become Leapwork certified, and training will come as part of implementation. Another question, how does Leapwork handle credentials for logging into all application, especially if MFA is enabled? We do have an MFA block that allows you to log into MFA enabled applications. So that is covered as well. Does Leapwork support API integration? Yes, we do have specific building blocks to enable you to do that. So, for example, if you want to make a call to an API, grab the response or even the response code. Do you want to see if a system is up? Do you get a code 200, for example? Or if you want to get data from that API as part of an end-to-end test, you can definitely do that. Once you get the response back, you can transform that response, grab the values that you need to validate that. So yes, it is absolutely supported. Another question, more on the functionality. Does Leapwork allow to test user-specific security roles? Yes, you can. So think of Leapwork as being able to do anything that a user can do on the application. So if you log in as an admin, you are expecting to see a bunch of different settings and options within that login session. You can validate that they appear. You can validate that you can use them. And you can also log in with a different role and test that the right functionality is showing up for that specific user. There is another question around security roles as well. Is there a way to record security roles during the recording of the events? So when we're recording the events, we are telling Leapwork essentially what to look for when we're running that test. So if we're recording a specific test for that particular security role, we would need to specify within Leapwork what it should look for. So what are those steps? What are those validation points that we need to look for? And Kenny, I don't know if there are any other questions from for the Microsoft side, if you want to take any of those as well.
I'm scrolling down to the many questions we have, and I see like the main one was about, is RSAT still supported? We did respond to that. Most of them are like Leapwork related, I would say. Let's see. There's others that I have missed that are to be addressed by our team. No, I don't see any.
Will the recording of this webinar be provided?
Yes, so that, as with any other Tech Talks, in a couple of days/weeks, we will be publishing this on our community site, so the slides will be available, and on top of that, the recording will also be published to the Tech Talk YouTube channel. So everyone is going to be able to revisit this this presentation there.
Perfect. And one last one, we have a lot of questions around pricing and licensing. So every license is obviously unique based on the need. If you are interested in learning more, if you want to just click the link that was posted along with the QR code, and I'll just post it in the chat again so that you can click and you can register interest, and we'd love to have a conversation with you on that as well. And last but not least, I know we're getting to time. Anything else from your side, Kenny? Swami?
Not from me. Yeah.
Anyone? Just one last question. Will there be trial licenses for Microsoft people where we want to utilize Leapwork? Yes, absolutely. So just reach out to me or click the link. More than happy to connect and help as well. And thank you to Leo Laskin as well for jumping in and helping me with the questions from our side. Thank you.
All right. So we posted a pin a short survey in the Q&A panel. We'd love to hear your feedback on today's session and what would you like to see in future events. And also there's the link that Alexandra was referring to, so you can schedule your discovery session with them. And as a reminder, the recording will be made available on Dynamics TechTalk community site in the upcoming weeks and in our YouTube channel. Thanks to our presenters and to you, our audience, for attending our Tech Talk today. We hope you have a great rest of the day ahead.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining.